And now North Korea looms again. Bruce Klingner joins me now. He's a Northeast Asia Senior Fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Do you agree with Ken Burns? Have we learned the lessons of Vietnam today?
Well, certainly there's, as he pointed out, a lot of cynicism, and that did seem to come from the 1960s. Also, the assassinations in 1968 led to a lot of riots in the cities. So certainly a lot of turmoil from the 60s and cynicism from the Pentagon Papers and the Vietnam War that still lingers.
And even in the North Korean War, which many Americans, frankly, don't even remember or talk about very much, that also came to a stalemate, like Vietnam, like Afghanistan is right now. I don't even know what that is, right? So now we're entering into this this potential conflict with North Korea, and many Americans are saying, oh my gosh, another conflict where there is no win.
Well, the Korean War has been called the Forgotten War, which is a disservice to all the servicemen and women who served there and many who gave their lives, and certainly is not forgotten by South Korea. So some would depict it as a draw or a tie, but you could, I think, certainly see it as a victory in that it repelled a communist invasion. And look at where South Korea is today, the 11th largest economy in the world, the miracle on the Han, as it's referred to, a vibrant democracy, certainly quite a contrast to the dictatorship in the north. So I think the Korean War was a success in that we enabled South Korea to grow to be the vibrant democracy that it is today.
As far as North Korea is concerned, though, doesn't North Korea think that it stood up to big bad America?
Well, it would depict it that it's defied America, that it's defied the U.S. Desire and objective to invade North Korea, which we don't have. So they use that to justify their nuclear weapons. But remember, North Korea signed 4 international agreements promising never to build nuclear weapons, and then they signed 4 subsequent agreements to give up the weapons they promised never to build in the first place. So they depict it as a response to the U.S. hostile policy. But the U.S. forces are in South Korea in response to the not only the lingering effects of the 1950 invasion, but the continuing threats and provocative attacks, including deadly tactical attacks on South Korean and U.S. citizens.
Right, and I ask you that question because I don't get the sense today that Kim Jong-un fears America. He seems absolutely ready for nuclear war. Is he?
Well, as North Korean officials told me during meetings this summer, they said accept us as a nuclear state, and they're prepared to then talk about a peace treaty or to fight, not threatening to attack if we don't sign a peace treaty, but more of a if you want to fight, bring it. But you know, clearly any kind of conflict on the Korean Peninsula would be horrific, as Secretary of Defense Mattis said. You know, when I was in the government, we did war games and tabletop exercises. The alliance always won, but usually at the cost of hundreds of thousands of casualties, and that's before we thought North Korea had nuclear weapons.
So President Trump is going to speak before the United Nations General Assembly tomorrow, and he's going to talk about a nuclear North Korea. What should he say?
Well, he should urge North Korea to abide by the many UN Security Council resolutions which require North Korea not only to not test nuclear and missiles, but also to abandon their nuclear programs, nuclear and missile programs. The continued existence of the nuclear and missile programs are themselves violations of UN Security Council resolutions. So he should send that signal to North Korea, and he also has to send a signal to the rest of the world that we need to remain united. If the UN Security Council resolutions, indeed the UN, means anything, we have to uphold and defend the resolutions that have been passed.
Bruce Klingner, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Why isn't Colin Kaepernick on the field? The QB says he's ready to play, and now the biggest star in the NFL is saying Kaepernick deserves a chance.